Millen.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. First of all, I welcome you to your role. Also want to welcome the new Cabinet Secretary and ministerial team and pay tribute to those who are no longer within the health brief. Also want to touch upon two MSPs who weren't returned, Jackson Carlow and Jamie Green. Both made hugely important contributions to this Parliament, and I wish them well as they go on with their lives. And also want to pay tribute to Jeremy Balfour, Ros McCall and Sarah Boyack, who I worked with them on the CPA, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. I wish them well also. My constituency has increased as a consequence of the boundary changes, and I, as well as been delighted to once again represent the constituents from Port Glasgow, Greenock, Gourock, Inverkirk and Beams Bay. I also look forward to working for my new constituents in Kilmacombe and Quarters Village, and I want to pay tribute to my campaign team for their excellent work delivering an SNP victory in Inverclyde constituency and also across the country. Moving on to today's debate, and we all know that the NHS is one of the most important issues for the electorate. And in my recent campaign, the four main issues raised with me on the doorsteps were NHS, housing, cost of living and also independence. I know there are challenges within the NHS, but I know there are also many positives. I want to thank the NHS staff for their dedication and also for their hard work that they deliver for every single one of us every single day. Now, the key information which demonstrates how the NHS under this SNP Scottish Government is turning a corner include the long waits down for 11 months in a row, the number of operations carried out up by 7.3%, new outpatient waits over a year have dropped by more than 76%, prescriptions are still free in Scotland, but it's £9.90 in England, and the universal free eye test. These are firm foundations to build our NHS upon, and this Parliament, and they are proof that progress is actually being made, and it was made in the last session to help our health service recover after the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm under no illusion, though, that this progress wasn't easy, and we know it wasn't easy, and we've still got more to do. And as we move forward, I welcome the following policies which will play a pivotal role in shaping healthcare delivery, and that's the opening of at least an additional 5 GP walk-in centres, and setting out the locations for the 14, the development of a new national plan for hospital flow, hospital flow to ease pressure on A&E and address delays in discharge, introduce the first heart and lung health MOTs, and submitting a proposal to the UK National Screening Committee on reviewing the age for bowel cancer. I've also improved funding solution for hospices. There are more, but I could list. I just want to list these 5 examples to show that our NHS is changing to help our constituents. I do, however, have some suggestions to help going forward, and like Bob Doris, I'll get my asks in early. Firstly, last week, the NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde issued a statement saying that they are destroying medicines worth £100,000 per day. I've already spoken to Ivan McKee about this. Now, that's a vast sum of money that's actually been wasted, which I'm sure everyone will acknowledge. In addition to patients, GP practices have a role to play in reducing this. So constituents have told me that they have said to their GP practices that they don't need part of their prescriptions, but this hasn't always been taken forward. So I believe that increased prescription reviews are necessary to help reduce this wastage and save money. Secondly, I was delighted that earlier this year the Scottish Government announced that Port Glasgow Health Centre is to be replaced. Now, this was welcomed by many in the community, but sadly, and also in their own unique way, the local Labour Party turned this positive into a negative. Now, the health centre funding is to be funded through the mutual investment model. So I'd like to suggest to the Scottish Government to also engage with the Strathclyde Pension Fund, as they are sitting on an absolute wealth of resources. And the replacement...
Will the member take an intervention?
Sure.
Thank you for taking my intervention.
Alex Kerr.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. Thank you for taking my intervention. I note with the interesting point raised by Stuart McMillan around the potential for pension funds like the Strathclyde Pension Fund to help resource the solutions to the challenges we face, while always ensuring they deliver sound investments for their members. At this point, I must note an interest as a member of the Strathclyde Pension Fund. I was also on the committee until last month, and heard of the direct impact portfolio which targets investments with a local economic or environmental social governance impacts while protecting returns. Would Mr McMillan agree with me that we should encourage such funds and strive to encourage their investment, particularly in devolved areas, come to Scotland in the first instance?
I would remind members that interventions are not speeches and should be short. Thank you very much. Mr McMillan.
Thanks, Presiding Officer. I absolutely agree wholeheartedly with my friend and colleague Alex Kerr, because I think certainly the more investment that comes to Scotland from the Strathclyde Pension Fund, the better, quite frankly. So the replacement of the Port Glasgow Health Centre alone might not actually be enough to make the numbers stack up. So tying in the investment with other projects, such as the reinvestment into the Inverclyde Royal Hospital, may actually make it feasible. The third suggestion is now on mental health delivery, and the Cabinet Secretary touched upon earlier. During my time as a constituency MSP, many constituents have raised the concerns about accessing mental health services, in addition to the growing role that Police Scotland officers are playing in mental health cases when other services aren't available. The impact on Police Scotland, taking officers away from their normal roles, is a cost to them and also to society. And the fact that NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde is such a vast entity, and considering the Clyde part of it alone and the Christie principles for public sector reform, and advocating for Inverclyde to be considered for a pilot project to have a day mental health facility to help ease those with a mental health need. I believe this would help those in crisis, free up police time and also save money. And finally, during the election campaign, I also heard from constituents about their health journey using the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Glasgow. Not one person complained about the care that they received, but some, and many did actually ask the question, why, for a routine procedure, why we go in there as compared to getting that service in the Inverclyde Royal Hospital. So I think having more of these routine procedures locally as compared to going elsewhere also saves time, certainly for the patient, but also helps the Scottish Ambulance Service, because when ambulances leave Inverclyde, they don't come back for many, many hours because they're stuck at the A&E waiting time, or else they get put onto somewhere else, maybe in Renfrewshire or across the river over towards Clydebank. But I'm conscious of my time, so I will stop there, but there's just a few points I know that certainly would help the health service delivery in Inverclyde. Thank you.